next time. They're not taking that.
So we just talk.
Yes.
The meeting is called to order. We will reconvene, and we will start out by having an open prayer by Reverend Commissioner John Alford.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you now for the beauty of this day. We thank you for the privilege to serve. We pray that this county will prosper. We want to thank you for those who serve, for those who give their time and talent to the people of Scotland County. We ask that you bless every decision that we make tonight. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the agenda for tonight. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we need to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Any questions about the consent agenda? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, the next item will be the appreciation during COVID-19. Is David Wells in person here, or is it? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and thank you for Commissioners and County Manager, Mr. Patterson, for allowing me the opportunity. I briefly just want to share my gratitude as the outgoing news director at WLNC to all of the entities in Scotland County and Laurinburg that have shared stories with us over the last 2 years. In March of 2020, we did not see that coming. And it was when the world stood still. And I did not know how we would gather news for the radio stories. But some of you here, and far too many people to start naming names, in Scotland County, Laurinburg, the towns of East Laurinburg, Gibson, and Wagram would call me and leave messages on my voicemail that we would edit into the news each and every day. So we would not have had most of the news stories that we did without the cooperation of the fine folks from these entities. I would like to say, since I'm here at the County Commission, I would like to say one special thank you is posthumously to former Commissioner and Commission Chair Bob Davis. You know, at 80 plus years old, Bob had to be tired at the end of those meetings. And he was always faithful to call me when we couldn't be here in person and give me the reports that we needed. So I'd like his family to know that we certainly appreciated that. Most of you know that I'll be leaving at the end of this week from WLNC and going to work for the greatest school system in the state of North Carolina. But I'm returning the helm to the man who turned it over to me 2 years ago, Sandy Cowell. And you know, the bar is here and Sandy is up here. So I know that WLNC will still remain in good hands. I've done my best for the last 2 years, and I'd like to thank all of you and those throughout Scotland County and the other communities for your help. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for those compliments. And we wish you well. And Sandy, glad to see you. The next item on our agenda is the Scotland County Economic Development Commission. Mark Walker.
Thank y'all for allowing me to be here this evening. I'm here to represent Scotland County Economic Development Corporation, and we have presented to you, I think in your package, and we've also presented to the city of Laurinburg to amend our bylaws. As you know, Scotland County Economic Development Corporation is owned or controlled by the city of Laurinburg and Scotland County. The city provides 2 elected officials, and the county provides 3 elected officials. What we've asked after we've reviewed it with several other nonprofit economic development organizations, that it is in our best interest, and we think the best interest of the group, to have 2 private citizens, non-elected individuals appointed to that board. Those individuals will be appointed by the current board, and they will be rotating off. They will serve 2-year terms. The first person that we're asking, one of those 2 will serve a 1-year term, but that person might be asked to serve a 3-year term, so it'll be staggered. We don't anticipate, if this is approved, that it would not happen until the fall. We do not have 2 individuals already picked out. The city, when we presented to them, they brought up a very good point that, does the public know we're looking? And the answer is no. But what are we going to do about that? So we are going to let the public know that we're looking for 2 individuals to serve. And those individuals will be able to contact me. I'll get their information. I'll provide it to the board. And then the current 5-member board will elect and appoint those 2 individuals. Our bylaws also had some housekeeping rules that need to be updated and changed. We have to abide by open meeting laws. That was updated in there. We also have Fiscal Control Act. We also state that if the Scotland County Economic Development Corporation ever encumber funds, or borrows money, that we will not encumber taxpayer funds, nor will the county or the city be obligated to pay any loan if the EDC ever borrows.
Let me ask you a question right there. How can you guarantee that? Because if it's a county and city-owned operation, incorporated by the county and operated within the county, how is the county not going to be obligated?
Because the bank does not require them to sign, and they only take the assets of the corporation. Just because the county appoints 2 individuals or 3 individuals, it is a totally separate entity, just like historic properties. If the historic properties wants to borrow money, the city and the county doesn't have to be obligated for that. Just because the county created it does not mean we are an arm of the
I
county.
understand that if I'm on the side of the banker's side of that table, I'm gonna make the argument, county should be going.
Now, we insert specific language in there that what sort of closure there, it basically prohibits any pledge of the county's taxing authority or credit.
If a bank, I'm sorry.
That's all, I mean.
I understand, I get it, I'm just saying the nuclear option, if something were to happen to EDC and nothing could be paid, or nothing of assets, that bank, to me, is going to come to the county and city and say, they were a wholly owned subsidiary, if you will, and
Well, I think you brought that argument a little bit when you appoint 2 additional people who are not commissioners and not members of the town council, but I understand your position. And one of the things that we ran through with this whole process was, you're gonna need to comply with open meetings law. You're gonna need to comply with open fiscal control law.
I saw that somebody changed it in regulators.
Yes, and Mr. Ward totally understood that, and, you know, the effort, though, is that it be, to the extent it may be autonomous, that it be. But it's important that we have that language in there so that, any entity dealing with it, assuming they have enough interest to the bylaws, say, it shows that they don't have.
I'm just, that, not that that would ever happen, but I would just, you know.
I think the point's well taken, we try to avoid that as best we could.
We've had,
Keeps the financial institutions from loaning, making a loan.
Right.
correct, it could come about that if we went to a financial institution and asked for money, they could say, we're not gonna do this unless the county signs. They could ask that, and then we would have to present it. But we have done 2 loans
Would
in
have to go through
LGC.
the, yeah, that's right.
We have done 2 loans in the past with a local bank and have a credit card with a local bank. And at all times, they understand that even though the county and the city appoint members to our board, we are considered separate. We have our own tax ID number, our own 501c3 number. But it was proper to put that language in there just for future reference in case a bank ever wants to pursue somebody they realized that
For
they had
some
no.
reason. that
Correct, that's
this
right.
would happen.
It was the right thing to do.
Madam Chairman, I will make the motion that the Board of Commissioners approves the EDC's board's recommendation that bylaws be amended.
Second.
Can I ask one more question on that? Will it have to be Scotland County resident?
They will not.
It does, the bylaws do not state that, and that was for multiple reasons. Once again, like I say, a name never came up, never brought up a name. But I mentioned at city council that in my mind, I thought of someone that I know who works for Duke Energy. Well, that Duke Energy person lives in Raleigh. Now, that is a great person, but he really has no ties to Laurinburg. So now, if he was born and raised in Laurinburg and his grandma still lived here, well, there's an argument for that. But I think the consensus of the current board was that there needs to be some strong ties to the county, and or the city. But the bylaws do not state that. Now, that might be something that the board then puts in their articles or puts in something different, but the bylaws, you don't want to be that secure on a particular one.
But then on the other hand of that, I don't want somebody from Richmond County here deciding,
Well,
I mean, that could be.
I joked about that.
I mean,
The only stipulation in there was that they cannot be an elected official.
no, but it would have to be elected.
That's correct. They could-
To do damage.
That's correct.
And my concern would be that it be people from within Scotland County.
We don't take it, Ms. Hart. Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we adopt, the, Scotland County Economic Development Commission bylaws. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Opposed? No.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information. I never read the bylaws before, and I did try to sit and read it today, so
Yes, ma'am.
it was helpful to understand it better, it really was.
And all the red stuff was what was added, right?
That's correct.
They want a lot of it, so.
Now we turn the meeting over to our county manager, Mr. Patterson.
May I just ask, I saw something flash up up here. Is Commissioner BJ Gibson with us?
He said he would be virtual, I don't know.
I am present.
Okay, thank
On
you.
my end, I can't really hear you all well, but I am present.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. I'm glad that you made it. Thank you.
Need to know the PA system.
Our system is not working properly tonight.
We got, last time the microphones were working, but the camera was screwed. They came in and repaired it, so the camera is working, and the microphones are not. So, we'll,
I hope we still haven't paid them that.
no,
Get it?
All right, Mr. Patterson.
okay, modifications, the board did ask that, we come up with some alternates. And of course, this first information is, basically a recap of what was presented last, meeting. With the, again, with no changes. With that, the board did come back in and come with recommendations that we develop alternates that would reach two different alternatives. One is what would it take to get to a tax rate of 99 cents. Another alternative would be to provide a bonus payment, increasing the standard rate of pay for sworn law enforcement officers in the sheriff's department, as well as jailers. With that, and I do have a lot of detail if you want to see it. I think I set out an Excel spreadsheet on how the actual work would go. Starting off with the 99-cent tax rate, assuming no other changes in the budget. With that more recent guidance, some of the ARP funds allows for lost revenue, but under the initial guidance, it basically, we didn't have any lost revenue based on what they said. After that, they came back in and said, you can use your own historical growth rate, which for us would have been about 1%, or you can use the national growth rate of 4.1%. Also, you would go off and you could remove reimbursement grants. So part of that would be previous CARES monies that we received. So at that point in time, as we finish out this year, we would be able to have some reimbursement, some lost revenue numbers that we could accrue into next year. Now, this would be a 1 or 2 year revenue stream because these funds need to be fully appropriated by 2024. But this is a short term. We can lower the rate and stabilize it going forward with this funds. In addition to, as we develop additional programs with ARP, figuring out what other county services might be benefited directly by ARP funds, in addition to infrastructure and community programs that we will develop. The other goal was establishing a increase in pay for law enforcement officers, our sheriff's department, and jail. What we came up with, and this would be a specific, a reclass of those positions. It would be what works out to be 2 grades. One grade is 4.6%. So the 2 grade increase would be a 9.2% increase for, again, people in sworn law enforcement office positions or certified jailer positions. That, I think, that would include everybody in the sheriff and jail except potentially 3 administrative personnel.
Now, you've got bonus pay,
That would be.
It's not a one-time.
It is not a one-time bonus. This would be an actual recurring item. But again, ARP goes off and allows me to go off and do bonus pay for public safety. And public safety officers in. Exactly. And bonus pay, public safety would be in year 2 of the salary study, which would happen next year anyway. So basically, this would allow us to use federal funds to go ahead and speed up I know that survey is going to show that they are 10% under pattern. So basically, of the 11.2% increase in pay from this year to next year, or that would start July 16th, we would be able to, as the board appropriates that as bonus pay, we could allocate that to recovery funds for 2 years. So those actions, they do take full advantage. They do take advantage of the Recovery Act funds, which still leaves a significant number because between these, we're looking at $400,000, around $500,000 between the two, $530,000, I believe.
Both of these together.
Both of these together, approximately $530,000 per year. And of this, we've already received approximately $3.7 million last week. In the Recovery Act, we will receive another $3.7 million 1 year from now. And those are disbursements through Treasury.
And then in 3 years, we'll have to take that under our.
Yes, sir. But again, like I said, Leo, that was something that we would already be working to take into account anyway. This speeds it up for a year, but allows us a funding stream for 2. So those are 2 methods to accomplish either or both of the goals of the board established at the last meeting. So, with that, I would, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can you go back to the full you have a sheet with full 99 and a dollar rate?
That's basically the amount that is at $1. Trying to pull up my. Trying to get my. Trying to get the Excel spreadsheet back up for. But with this, the law enforcement and jail totals, those modifications were $292,000 between for both programs. The 1 cent on the tax rate is $225,000. The approximately. So those are the two changes. So with this, the total budget would be, it would be at $46.34 million. Because the property tax would be a decrease in revenues, but an increase in grant revenue. So that would be a full exchange. So we would increase the $46,065,000 by $292,000 for the 9.2% increase. And I think if you carry that out, that would show an increase in jailers. If you take that to an annual rate or an hourly rate, that would increase a jailer's rate by $1.60. That would increase a deputy one's rate by $1.90 an hour.
You have a number in that for what you calculated in your own school.
This is still at $10,044,000. I have not changed that amount.
But this time we get a recommendation from any commissioners that represent.
Well, I will speak, Madam Chairman. The Liaison Committee has continued to meet. Our most recent meeting was last Thursday. I will report, and Commissioner B.J. Gibson, I hope you can hear me. I want him to comment on this as well, and obviously Commissioner Golston too. Of the 6 members of the committee, 4 members were in favor of remaining at the $10,044,000 figure. I will say at the meeting that we had in May, that there was considerable conversation about $10,044,000. At that time, I was in favor of that. The group as a whole, the members from the school board were also interested in taking back to their group the possibility of asking for $10,150,000. I think they had that conversation, and the group decided that the $10,044,000 is what they would be willing to accept for this year. During that same time, we've had an intervening county commissioner meeting, and in my mind, it was pretty clear that a number of this board's representatives were in favor of going down. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about my own personal preferences, but I have spoken for a number of years that we needed to be below that $10 million. When we met last Thursday, 4 of the 6 members of the Liaison Committee were in favor of staying at $10,044,000. Two members, which would be Mrs. Golston and myself, were in favor of reducing it below the 10 million. And we had a variety of reasons why we thought that was appropriate for this year. But as I knew we would have this conversation here today, I think it's important for the group to know that the Liaison Committee for 6 or 7 years has done a good job of having these conversations, of making recommendations, and that we've, I think, made the somewhat controversial conversation about the school funding formula less prevalent in our community, and it would be my hope that that could continue. I do think that the two groups of representatives had a legitimate difference of opinion on where we might need to be this year. And I say that and will offer that as the beginning of this conversation and ask if Commissioner B.J. Gibson or Commissioner Golston have anything else to comment or in any other further conversation from the other representatives of this board. Commissioner Gibson, can you hear me?
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you well.
Okay, wonderful. I'm working between YouTube and GoToMeeting trying to hear everything. I don't really have a lot to add to what Commissioner Gibson has shared. Everything you said is accurate and certainly a great recollection of our meetings. A couple of things I will say. One, I guess it's obvious I am the, lone ranger of the commissioners who serve on the Liaison Committee who has an interest in the number remaining at 1044. And as there are a number of reasons that others would like for it to drop, I have reasons that I would love for it to stay where it is. I do recognize that we are wanting to cut that number back and lower our contributions as it relates to numbers to the school system. I won't get into that either, but I will say I think our relationship with the school system is important, and we have cultivated a really good relationship that I do hope that we will not stagnate and cause it to go into a different direction. Secondly, I will say, as a taxpayer and as a parent, I am interested in ensuring that we are offering our schools the greatest level of support that we can offer so that my children and all other students in our county can get the best education possible. I did say at our last meeting that I would reiterate from the school board members what you've already shared, Mr. Gibson, and that is that they came to the table with the 10,150,000 number as really their request. We kind of threw out the 9.9 number, and I think they felt like the 1044 was a median place that we made in the middle, and that's why they were asking for it to remain at that number. And I think that's all I have to share.
Are there any more questions, compliments? Not compliments, but concerns, I'm sorry. Okay. So have we completed the budget?
Yes, sir, I can.
I'm asking Mr.
I can now.
Okay.
I can now.
Mr. Harrison, have we completed?
I'm working between YouTube and GoToMeeting trying to hear me?
No, okay.
So let's go back to that number page you had looked. So if you leave our general fund budget is 46,065,030, as you have it listed now. And say we reduce that school contribution slightly and just leave the budget number at that other can be reallocated back to, if nothing else, the fund balance appropriation. Yes. So that brings that down below me. So unless you've got more, I'll make the motion for the 2021-2022 budget. General fund of $46,065,035 as presented with the things we've discussed with law enforcement and DSS and the other things, and place the school appropriation that we do for this same fiscal year at $9.85 million.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and proper second that, our general fund budget will be 40, wait a minute now. And when we added 46,065, 035, how much did that come to?
No, that's it, you just leave the general budget.
Okay, general budget. Okay, and, it's been moved and proper second that we, accept the general fund budget and, award the school system 8.5, is that what you said,
9.8.
as their budget fund? All in favor?
9.8.
Yeah, 9.5. All in favor, let me know by say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You need a second.
He seconded. It was,
I'll
he
let
made up, yeah, he made a motion, John second.
You may have had a question from.
Okay, question, okay,
And just to add to that, the tax rate would be $1.
okay. I thought it was 99 cents,
No, not with that, no.
not with that, okay, okay. Question? Okay, no question, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I am opposed.
A motion carried, thank you. Okay, our next, item, that completed the budget, right, Mr.
That's it for the budget.
Okay, I could add those two numbers. But anyway, the next item is the project ordinance for American Rescue Plan Act funds. Long word. Great.
And this is basically the first half of the installment. This is creating a project ordinance that is basically receiving and authorizing, basically authorizing the receipt of $3.7 million we have already received. None of these funds will be spent until this board goes back in and we start adopting actual programs. The only things that would be allocated to it at this point in time, starting with the August paycheck, would be part of the bonus pay that's for the sheriff and jail. But this is the first half of the ARP funds.
This is just so we can carry it over.
Yes, sir. This creates a multi-year program rather than approving it every year and amending it as.
So we need to make a motion to accept this, right? I'm trying to find it in my paperwork. Okay, I can't find it, but anyway. Do I have a motion for acceptance of this fund? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and proper second that we accept the funds for the project ordinance for American Rescue Plan Act, we accept the American Rescue Plan Act funds. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I did want to say that, when we get to the other part of the funds, I'm hoping that we can do some other things, with some of the monies. I would like to see, I've talked to our county manager concerning this. I would like to have some funds to go to small businesses in our county to give them a little boost. So we'll talk about that later as we get more funds in. Okay, our next item is the appointment of RCC Board of Trustees.
Madam Chairman, we've got 3 applications. I know that 2 of the applicants have stated they would seek the appointment to the RCC board. They've also listed another committee. The current appointee to that position is Dean Nichols, who I believe has been there for, I think probably more than 10 years. But Mr. Nichols is the current vice chairman of the board of trustees. He does an excellent job. I'm on that board. I think he is a key member. He was requested by the president of the college to fill that position, and I would make the motion that he be reappointed to that position.
I second that motion.
Question, well, it's been moving probably second that we appoint, reappoint, Mr. Nichols, Charles Dean Nichols to the RCC Board of Trustees. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. All right, let me go through this now. That was the only thing for, RCC, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next, board, that we have, a committee, that we have is Lion Redder, wants to be appointed to the Lawrenceburg, Scotland County Planning and Zoning Board. And according to our clerk to the Board of Commissioners, that is not possible because,
He lives outside the ETJ.
okay, all right. Any question about that? We got RCC.
We'll send a letter on that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let him know that he was about, because I drove up there to see, he's about a mile and a half outside of the ETJ for the
Okay.
city of Lawrenceburg.
Okay, the next one, we have Miss Rhonda Cox has submitted her application, and she wants to be on the County Crime and Drug Commission. And there are 2 openings on that position, So do I move that we, award her that particular slot.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So she is now appointed to the County Crime and Drug Commission. The next one is Christopher Mark Ward. I did not know his first name was Christopher. I kept looking at it. Okay. He is, needs to be, I'm trying to look for all this here. Okay. He is on the Lumber River Workforce Development Board. And how long have you been on that board?
This will be my second year.
Okay. Okay. I move that we,
This goes to, that's not replacing the offer, right? That's another position.
That's a separate
Not
position.
renewal.
Right.
okay, yeah.
There was only 4 applications for the 4 openings,
Okay.
one being for
I
Mr.
just want
Alford.
to make sure we want about replacing.
No, we don't want to replace Mr. Alford.
Did you say we had 4 applications for the 4 positions?
4 applications for the 4 positions.
Or is that Mr. Ward?
Mr. Ward, Mr. Todd,
That's right.
Dr. McGinnis, and Mr.
Oh, that was all for the work.
Yeah, that was all.
Okay.
The whole board is up for reappointment, right?
Right, all members from Scotland County.
Okay, so we're gonna do each one individually?
You know,
You can do them all.
Okay, I move that, we reappoint Mr. John Alford, Mr. J. Todd, Mr. Mike Ward, Mr. Dale McKinnis to, the Lumber River Workforce Development Board.
I will second that motion, clarifying the name of Christopher Mark Ward.
I was gonna ask Mike if that was okay.
He's probably been called worse today. I'll make the second, Madam Chair.
All right, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
A motion carried. Okay, now we have, then we have only one left, let me see, and all this stuff mixed up, let me sit down. Okay, Jim Warren, I got it, okay, now we have a person by the name of Jim Walters, and he wants to be on the Scotland County Memorial Library Advisory Board. I move for Mr. Jim Walters to hold that slot, and do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second, that Mr. Jim Waters serve on the library board. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
I got them all.
you got them all.
Okay. Okay, what else is on our agenda today? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is comments from the County Commissioners. Any comments about Mr. Ivy? What you want to say?
I don't have anything really to say other than maybe to let the public know, keep it offered in your prayers, and he goes under the knife this week.
Yeah, you be all right. You be fine. You better be fine.
He'll be running the marathon this time next week. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Mr. Alford, anything?
No, I don't have anything. I'll see y'all next week.
Now, if you need a single lady to come take care of you while you're ailing.
Keep that in mind. Thank you for that.
Mr. Johnson still looking at me.
I'm relaxed.
I don't have anything.
I ain't gonna touch it.
I'm gonna back up just a little bit, and I apologize for my own, maybe lack of understanding. When you were talking about the budget, you were talking about a $1 tax rate.
Yes,
We had at one time had a conversation that we would want to consider going down. What, when you were showing that the dollar figures with that 4.1, what did that have to do with?
at that point in time, was looking at using ARP funds, for revenue replacement, to go off and offset, using those directly into other programs so we could reduce the tax rate. But with that, those funds would still be available, but they would all, but as they're available, they'd be available for 1 or 2 year programs or capital projects that need to be accomplished as well. Because anything that's developed, that's calculated through revenue loss replacement, that can be used for anything that meets public purpose. So if there were a capital project that needed funding, and we had.
Or needs additional funding, i.e.
And we needed another amount of money, whatever those could be allocated to anything that meets general purpose, for the county.
And with some of the things that we've already got in the budget, staying where we are on the tax rate seems to make more sense.
Well, in my thought process on it, Mr. Gibson, was that, yes, it would be a great thing to go to 99 psychologically, if not no, but we're gonna end up needing that difference on that Law Hill project. With the bids tomorrow, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come out tomorrow, and that's probably, better use of it than anything else right now. I mean, as far as covering that gap.
Well, and the other thing is, with some of the things we're doing salary-wise, we may be able to get some benefit from these other sources, but that's only gonna be for a limited period of time. Okay.
And also the funds that I have in here, they are limited time, so a permanent reduction in revenue stream. That is simply pushing an issue down the road.
And I think that's what I meant. Okay. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to clarify that in my mind. Thank you. Other than that, Madam Chairman, I have no other comment.
I have a motion to close.
Our next meeting,
July 12th at 7 o'clock and back in this room.
Madam Chairman, I will repeat something that
Go right
Commissioner BJ Gibson said. I've been fortunately or unfortunately been on the Liaison Committee since the last time we had mediation, and I think the relationship between the two boards has been really good, and I hope we can continue with that. I hope we can, this is one of those bumps in the road we have to get to the other side of and still be working positively in the same direction.
Thank you. Any more comments from any of the, anybody? Mr. Johnson, anything you want to say? Good to have you here this evening. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
so moved. Second.
Moving probably second that we adjourn this meeting. See you on the 12th of July. Thank you.
Oh, bye.